Resume recording. I'll do Facebook Live. All set, bro. How are you feeling today?
I'm good. I'm good.
Sahi hai,
It was a
bro.
good day. Kind of hectic day, but it was nice.
Man, you have no clue. I'm actually enjoying all these webinars that I'm doing. I'm doing about 5-6 a day.
That's amazing. Actually, yeah, this lockdown has brought this webinar culture. I mean, a lot of people are doing a lot of webinars. There are a lot of things to learn just by sitting at home. Just open up Zoom. Zoom has actually played a good role, apart
Totally,
from the
man.
news that is going around it. But still, it's helping a lot.
Totally. That's primarily the intention of to keep doing this, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just setting up the Facebook Live and then we are good to go. Okay.
Okay.
Take a second, bro. From BTech, right? BE or BTech?
BE. भूल गया भाई.
मैं कॉलेज का नाम नहीं लिखता हूँ.
हाँ, क्योंकि ड्रॉप आउट हूँ.
From college. No, the thing is, otherwise the college shouldn't feel offended, no, bro.
Exactly.
Became a full stack developer and now runs a development agency or firm, bro.
Firm. I mean, product and service company बोल सकता है because we are also working on our own product.
Stop. Okay. Sudhanshu Kumar Swain. भाई तेरा मिल ही नहीं रहा है भाई. Beautiful, man. तो तब तक तो रिलैक्स कर ले भाई. पानी चाहिए तो पी ले तू.
ना ठीक है. मैं सुट्टा फूक सकता हूँ.
फूक ले before we go live. फूक ले.
Nice.
हाँ.
कर लिया मैंने. I mean, अभी रिसेंटली अभी कॉल ही खत्म हुआ था. Like तेरे को हाँ बोला था. I didn't know कि I had a call.
Shit. भाई तो मेरे को बोल देता भाई तो मैं पुश कर.
9 बजे का कॉल था. फिर मैंने उसको शिफ्ट किया है कि अभी कर लेते हैं. फिर वो खत्म जल्दी से करके
बच गया भाई मैं.
हाँ.
1 minute is just setting up the whole this thing on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it here.
Beautiful. I think it's all set, dude. Hey, Sudhanshu, welcome today. And hello,
Hey.
viewers. Welcome to the next episode of Trails by Career Shack. Our intention for doing this is to showcase people from different careers who can come across and tell you what it takes to build a career in that particular sector. Today, we have with us Sudhanshu Kumar Swain, who's an engineering college student of batch 2019, but he dropped out of college in 2017 to become a developer because that's what his whole aspiration was and passion was towards coding. He dropped out from college in 2017 and he currently runs a product development company called Urban Stop Studio. And he's a well-known programmer in his circles of startup ecosystem for sure. Welcome, Sudhanshu. It's a pleasure to host you today, man. So, Sudhanshu, before we start, right, if you could just share your background of who you are, where do you come from, and what made you drop out, we could start from there.
Sure. So, first, I'll just introduce myself. So, hello guys, I'm Sudhanshu, and right now I'm running a company called Urban Stop Studio. We are a company size of 15, and we are also working on our own product and as well as providing services. Before and how exactly I reached here. So when I was in class 9th, I started to develop interest towards the entrepreneurship. So that time the first thing that I worked on was a community. I created a community for computer related issues. So the name was Computer Solutions for 9th class kid. It was a community of 25,000 people. It's still there on Facebook, but no one is handling it anymore. So it's completely dead. So that community was alive till for the 2 years, and we had great developers, great experts around the country there, regularly asking their queries, and regularly there were problem solvings. Then after that, after my board exams, my parents asked me to do the preparation for IIT as usual. regular Indian science students. So after that, I went to Kota. I did my preparation there for 2 years. After that, yeah, as usual, I didn't get into IIT. Uh, Even when I was in Kota, me and my friends, we started a small website, a website where you can upload your talent videos. Let's say like you're good at singing, then you can upload your videos there. If you're good at dancing, then you can upload your videos there. And it was only for the Kota circle. So all the students, what they will do is they will rate you, and based on that, you will get some prize money. And yeah, the participant fees was there. So that's something we had done there, and it was good. At actually, we made a good revenue out of that. And but again, that was not a sure thing, because after 12th we all separated. Some went to Mumbai, some Pune, some Bangalore, some Kolkata. So everyone was separated. So that didn't happen. Then I came to Bangalore, started my engineering. First year was fine because of the basic subjects like chemistry, physics, and all. It was fine. Like okay, all right, not a problem. After that, second year happened. The first year we had a programming language called C. We were learning basic algorithms like palindrome and all those stuff. After that, the second year happened, and the second year again we were learning palindrome in different language. Fourth semester happened, we were learning again palindrome in different language. The only good thing we learned was the algorithm book that the teacher didn't teach us properly. Most of us were doing taking YouTube lectures or something like that, but that was not really helpful, because none of us were understanding what was the core importance of that particular thing, like how exactly we can implement that in real life. So meanwhile, when I was in the first year, I started taking online courses. I started with basic, like I know coding from my class 11th. I started learning it from Code Academy. I started from HTML CSS basics, just HTML CSS, just to how to create web pages. And that's because I had a subject in my class 9th that taught us HTML CSS. So I just thought, okay, I already know about that, and I'll just continue with that. I continued learning on Code Academy, and they gave us a basic idea. I won't say that it was a perfect course, but the beginner level course was good. After that, what how exactly my first uh, that time I used to call myself a front end developer, but I had no idea about JavaScript that time. I was just HTML, CSS developer. And how exactly I learned was I just used to search random websites, and if I liked them, then I just start to replicate them by my own. And if I'm not understanding anything, then the browser have an amazing tool, Inspect Element. Just go there, just see what exactly the CSS code is. Try it, and now again, another problem that people do here is they just copy paste it. No, don't copy paste it. Search that particular term. Let's say you don't know about flex. Go on Google and understand the flex box, and then implement that. And that way you will actually understand to the code like what exactly is happening. Most of the developers don't like HTML, CSS because of the styling and all those stuff, but that is important. CSS, SCSS, how exactly you are writing them, and what preprocessors you are using, that matters a lot when it comes to the performance, basic performance of the application. Yeah, we can minify it, not a problem, but there are a lot of things you can still do around that. So that's the first step that I took to learn. Inspect Element was God for me. I mean, I learned a lot of stuff from there, transforms, and so many things. After that, I started with Java. And trust me, I was really bad at it. I mean, Java, I'm still scared to Java. I mean, I am an Android developer. I do work with Java, but I still don't like it. It's still a nightmare for me. So after that, I switched to JavaScript. Initially, I really had no idea about the difference between Java and JavaScript. I really thought it's the same thing, but when I started to read the history about it, then I got to know, it's different. They just named it JavaScript, one of the marketing purpose. So after that, I switched to the JavaScript, and I realized that JavaScript is one of the most powerful languages when it comes to the web technology. Uh, because it's completely made for that purpose. And I again took the basic course from Code Academy. I mean, I like Code Academy because I really don't prefer video learnings, and that is because there is a lot of distractions. I mean, I'll just watch 2 videos, and after that, I'm on YouTube watching some music or videos, anything. So I prefer Code Academy. They had a complete explanation on the right side. On the on the left side, on the right side, they had the code editor where you can code and get the output on the bottom. So I started learning JavaScript from there. After that, again, that's a very basic stuff, no doubt. Then when I was in third semester, I did my first internship. And in internship, it was actually out of luck. Just a friend came to me. He told me, "Hey, this company is looking for a full stack developer. Why don't you go and apply?" I like, all right, sure. Why not? And that company, that is actually that person. That company was founded by alumni of our college. So a lot of people were already working there from our college. So I thought, okay, let's give it a try. So I gave a try. That I actually didn't go through any interview process. I got selected, and after that, the first day, the first task, I was like, damn. I mean, how exactly I'm going to do that? I haven't played with forms or anything. So that was the first time when I was actually working on some dynamic model. Otherwise, before that, it was just normal jQuery, styling stuff, moving things here from there, nothing else. And that was the first time I was working with Node.js, complete views, like how exactly to add the views there, EJS, TypeScript. I heard the names for the first time actually. EJS, I had no idea about EJS. So that was the first time I was working with them. There was no one to mentor. So first week was really tough. I mean, because I had to first learn during the night, then next day go to office and work. Yeah, our college had a very strict attendance system, so definitely they didn't give me attendance. But I was still continuing with my internship. Like, okay, it's the learning is more important than sitting in the class. So that's what like I thought. So I was continuing with my internship, and every day I used to come home by 7. Uh, I stay in Yelahanka, so office was some 12 kilometers, not very far. So every day I used to come at 7. Then after I used to go to have my dinner, and after that I just used to start learning about Node.js and how the authentication works and all those stuff. And like that, I started after six. That was an internship for 6 months. After 4 months, I actually called myself full stack developer because I had learned. During that particular period, I worked with SVG. So the company was actually about creating, we all know about Canva, right? So what happens with Canva is that you create templates. So this company was also in the similar way, but only for yearbooks. So they were targeting schools and colleges to create yearbooks. So this was the first time when I actually learned how to create those yearbooks using SVG. I mean, I literally uh, coded every single template for SVG. There was no designer. I didn't know how to use Adobe Illustrator. I didn't know any of those tools. So I actually learned that from FreeCodeCamp. Again, I'm giving the reference. So FreeCodeCamp has a very good SVG D3. Actually, they have a very good D3 lessons. So if anyone is interested in data visualization, then that's a really good way to start. Otherwise, D3 documentation is not really up to the mark. I mean, for the beginners, it's not. For the beginners, it's quite complicated to understand those documentations. So I started D3, not the SVG from there. Then after that, W3 Schools has a SVG course. So from there, I learned the SVG, and I started coding the templates that could be easily designed by Adobe Illustrator. That I realized after 1 year when I started showing my interest in design field. So that time we were just coding it everything. Then we were working on Python as well for the Python. So we were writing a script so that if I upload a particular image, then it should automatically get set to a particular frame, whatever we are setting in the SVG. So that's how uh, I learned basics of HTML, CSS. By the 4th month, I had a moderate level knowledge of JavaScript, and I had experience in data visualization as well because we were playing with graphs, a lot of graphs for admin panel. After that, I continued with my. By this time, I was in 4th semester. I actually had a health issue that time, due to which I couldn't write my exams. Mm-hmm. So in VTU we have I am from VTU. So VTU have a rule that if you skip if you have a backlogs in more than 4 exams, then you cannot continue the next year. I had backlogs in 7 exams because I didn't write any exam. Yeah. So I had a 1 year in my hand And now I was panicking because I didn't want to go home because I had a freedom from past 3-4 years, and I really couldn't stay there. And my family is very conservative. I mean, not very open. So I didn't want to go home. I wanted to stay here and see what I can do. So that time I started freelancing. My first gig from Upwork. My first gig was for rupees 300 rupees, and it was a Meteor project. I had learned Meteor with the help of my friend. So he taught me about everything. So that was the first time I was working with the framework. Otherwise, before and there was no other framework in the picture. So I started working with the Meteor. I created a basic drag and drop kind of a forum where you can simply drag and see on maps. You can drag elements on map and see what exactly is that particular location and what is happening there. So that's the first time when I worked with Google Map APIs. For Google Map APIs, I will definitely recommend Google Map documentation. It's really good. Otherwise, I mean, if you have any queries, then they have a good community where you can ask questions or you will easily get the answers. So that's how I get familiar with Google. And after that, I did freelancing for my second gig was amazing. My second gig was like really great. Like for a student, for a person who was around some 20 years old, getting that much amount of cake was amazing. And that was the first time I got a huge amount. I went crazy. I bought my I bought a Mac. I bought a scooty, and there was there were few still some cash left. I took my friends to Gokarna. We had a trip.
Crazy, man. How much did you
Really
make, by the way?
it was some 1.2 lakhs.
Wow.
Yeah, 1.2 or 3. Yeah. So I bought Mac, a second-hand scooty, and we went for a trip. It was crazy. And after that, I'm left with no money again. But by the time I came back, I joined this community called Pushstart. So like I was a part of that community for a year, but didn't I was not active there. But that time I used to use Facebook a lot, so I got a lot of notifications that this is happening, that is happening. Then I started reading their posts, and it was very interesting because before that I again was working on a on an idea where we will be connecting artists with the customers, but that didn't work out well because that actually we didn't work on that particular idea in deeper. We just left it on the idea stage because there are a lot of people said that it won't be a good thing to work on right now. So we dropped that idea. So that time I got to know about Pushstart. I joined that community. Then they had a post where they were looking for a developer and a designer. I applied for a developing job. They took my interview for UI UX requirement. That was the first time I was doing the UI UX. So I designed something. They liked it, and after that, I remember after 1 month I was in Mumbai. I was working with them. That was the first time I was actually working in a startup ecosystem where you brainstorm every night and full. I mean, the whiteboard is full of ideas, full of strategies and everything. Like we used to work till 4 a.m. in the morning because there were two other core team member who were working full-time job also. So they used to come back from the office, and then they used to come to the office, and they used to continue working on ideas like how we can make it revenue. I mean, what was the revenue model and how we can increase it, and engagement models and all those stuff. And as an intern, I was staying with the founder itself. We were sharing the room, and I would just sit and see. Wow, I mean, it's exactly like how pictures was. I mean, exactly how I imagined it. And that time, I mean, the founder, Neeraj, he's the founder. He's an amazing fellow. He took me to meet. So that time they used to conduct this AMAs. So in Mumbai, that time he had taken me for a few AMAs. One of them was with Sahil Vaidya from The Minimalist. And that time I had met him. And so that's the period, that's the 1 month period when actually I got the fire, like, okay, no, I actually want to do something of my own. I don't want to go back to college. I mean, there's nothing that I'm going to learn there because all of my friends, they are getting 8 CGPA, 9 CGPA, but there were literally no one having good amount of knowledge. I mean, I had a colleague who actually didn't know how to copy paste or how to open. Yeah, that's the level. And he was a 8 CGPA person. I mean, so that was a problem that I found, and I just thought, okay, there's no point. I mean, anyway, I'm doing good as a freelancer. I'm good doing good as a as an intern. So let's start focusing on something of my own. So anyway, I still continued my freelancing career that time, and I was still working out for Pushstart. That time we grew. I mean, I was an intern earlier as a designer. After that, I became their tech intern. I was handling their tech, and by the end of 1 year, I was their tech lead. So the journey was amazing at Pushstart. I mean, there was a lot of things to learn. I mean, I learned everything. Then after that, meanwhile on parallel, I was working on my own company where we started as design company where we were providing branding solutions and cinematography. Then after 2 months, we removed cinematography. We continued with branding. But I actually wanted to completely shift towards the design. I mean, I was very much interested towards that field more than the tech. But the tech didn't leave me. I mean, there was always there was always someone who used to call me, like, dude, I need this, I need that, and I need this. Like, okay, I mean, that's good, okay. And I realized that I'm kind of good at that. And there were few things that when I used to design and when I used to give it to other developers, they don't used to get that kind of output that I was expecting. So I thought, okay, if I am designing, then I'm the only one who can develop it, because that's what I had in my mind, how to develop it while designing it. So that's why I thought, okay, we'll add tech also to our company. And I was the alone person. I was just a single founder. I was a single person in the company that time. I had named it. The company was there, but I was only one. I was handling designing. I was handling everything. At a single time, I used to work on 4 to 5 projects simultaneously, and design projects, everything. There was
Whoa.
sleepless nights. I mean, I didn't had any weekend since past 3 years.
Crazy, man.
So yeah, so after 2 months, the company grew to second member, the first intern I hired, uh, and that was the first time I interviewed someone, and the hiring was good. I mean, this is one of the best hiring I ever made, and he did amazing work, and he learned a lot of stuff. Right now, he's doing internship at Microsoft. And the best thing is, I mean, why exactly I'm proud of that particular thing is because he learned all those stuff here. It was his first time. He did an internship first time. He was learning React for the first time. He was learning React Native for the first time, backend for the first time. He learned everything. After that, I just helped him with a recommendation and a connection that I found again from the Pushstart. And from there, he actually got the internship at Microsoft, and he's working there right now. And the day he wrote a message, "Ki, thanks a lot. I learned everything with you." And that day, I was like, okay. I mean, I made one good thing. As a company, the first thing a founder wants, the company grows. The second thing, that the team is happy. So
Correct.
as a first candidate, the team was happy, and it was amazing. After that, the company grew. Now we are a member of 16 people, and there are 7 developers. We have design team, we have marketing team, and marketing team we recently started with the marketing materials just to be active on digital media. As a registered company, we are 1 year old right now, and otherwise we are 2 year old company. So this was the journey from start till here.
Beautiful, man. This is like a proper roller coaster ride that you have gone through. So
Yeah,
college, before college, you did some startup of your own.
yeah,
Then college, during college, you did internship, you did freelancing. You actually made a lot of money in freelancing, and then
yeah.
worked in a startup, and then came out, dropped, and then you started your own startup. So in all of this, right,
Hmm.
where do you see yourself fitting in a lot more? Say, is it a development side? Is it the marketing side, or is it the design side? Where do you see yourself? Your heart lies in this particular field.
UX designer. I mean,
UX designer.
I have a huge interest towards user experience, and also like when I was throughout the journey, I met with a lot of people, lot of products and everything. A lot of startups coming to us and asking for the development, and or as a client coming to me individually for the development. no one ever focused on the UX of a product. No one ever understood that the UX is the main thing that can make a product rule the market or maybe lose the market. So even like if you take any big companies, they have good user experience. And that's why they are there right now. Either it's from customer side or from the product side, anything. Like for Amazon, they have a good customer experience. So that's why they are so good. Compared to the product, the UX is not really good. But from the customer certificate, it's amazing. So that's the user experience that they are providing. Now other companies, there are many other companies, Cred, they have amazing UX. I mean, initially people downloaded that particular application just to see what the interface was looking like.
I remember. I was one of those initial guys. I never got that. I didn't have a credit score at all, so I was not able to get into the app.
Yeah.
I still remember that.
Same here. So that's what I mean. These products have amazing UX, and that's the main reason they are ruling the market right now. So right now we are working on that particular part to spread the awareness on the UX, like how important UX is. We just started on that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have started. We are posting few articles and social media, like how exactly that is important. And even at our company, when we're developing a product, UX is the most important thing. As like we don't have a very experienced developing team. Let's say about like 10 to 15 years of experience, but still we try our best to give the product comparatively good to whatever ruling the market, whatever is ruling the market, whatever is trending right now. So that's the core feature that we still focus on. But yeah, again, the problem we face most of the time is client comes and they say ki, we don't have time for UI UX. Do whatever you can do in 2-3 days and start the development. But a proper UX actually takes a month at least, or more than that. Depends on the product. So that's something we're still trying to focus. We actually try to convince our client key, see, if you really want your product to work, then you have to focus on this particular area. Mm-hmm. And that's how we are trying to spread the awareness. So UX is my major interest right now.
Got it. Sudhanshu, coming back to the whole discussion topic for today, right?
Yeah.
So it's focused on development as such,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So you started your journey as a developer.
Correct.
Why did you choose development? What did it enable you to do? What made you choose development or computer coding as your passion?
Yeah. So the first thought I had, I was just using a system randomly. I just right clicked it. And that was the point when I thought, oh, wow, I mean, I right clicked it and how exactly this model pop up. I mean, now when I'm doing this, how exactly this particular action is happening. So that was the thought that created the curiosity inside the head. And I started reading about it and like, oh, there is something called computer science engineering. When if you learn, you will be able to do all this stuff. And after that, like, oh, these are the technologies that you can that can help you do all the stuff. Web technology alag hota hai, then desktop applications are different, mobile applications are different, and that's how I got to know about the developing. And that was the main thing that helped me. Even in the UX, the main part is actually the development, developing that particular user experience for the user, for the customer. So it's just the idea, like how exactly you can do that, how exactly you can solve that particular problem. So that's the interest. That's how I started developing.
Totally, man. Makes sense. As a kid, right, we find something that is very curious for us.
Exactly.
And then do it. I remember one of these school times, right? I was probably one of the first few kids in my school to have a computer, okay?
Okay.
And it was this software called as Microsoft Word. Back then, that was like exciting.
Yes.
There is this animation feature in Microsoft Word wherein you can make like black ants kind of a thing run around the screen. You had red ants that could run around the screen.
Okay,
so that is where my curiosity started about. Not about programming as such, but more about how do I use the computer? How do I...
Right. Yes.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot for sharing that, man. It's just nostalgia for me, remembering all these moments.
Yeah.
Sudhanshu, coming back to our discussion, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, development is like one segment. There are multiple sub-segments under development, right?
Correct.
What are those according to you? What are the career paths for people under the whole thing about developer role? What are the different career paths that people could have?
So if you ask me about giving suggestion like how to start, then actually I will suggest to start from the web development. Otherwise, there's a lot of things. There's a web technology. Then we have application development. We have machine learning, data science. The area is really wide. Augmented reality, virtual reality. It's really big. right? But as a college student, right now, what mistake I have personally noticed is when people are doing their bachelors, they start focusing towards artificial intelligence a lot, machine learning a lot. And then what happens is when they go for the placement, companies don't hire freshers in this field. They want someone who's actually experienced in this field. Majority of the companies actually. Now this actually create. I mean, they have the knowledge, they have the skills. Doesn't matter for the company, because if you see the process, the hiring process that happens at the college, they don't see the skills. They just see the resume. This is and how exactly the student is doing in their exams and all those stuff. So this creates a gap between the hiring process and the students who are learning. So what they can, instead of what they can do is they can start learning towards the web technologies, or they can start focusing more towards the if just they want to get oriented towards the placement, then Java is something they should focus on. Spring, C Sharp. So these are the few things that they should focus on. Web technology is I personally prefer, because that's easy to learn. The scope is really wide. It's never going to die, because it doesn't matter what exactly you develop in AI, you always need an interface to show. And now JavaScript is again developing its own features in a very wide way. I mean, now we have AI in JavaScript.
Wow.
Anyway, I mean, yeah, but the thing is, JavaScript is not preferable for AI because of the heavy calculations. Unless it's a basic model, then it should do the job. But if it's a heavy calculation, then it will be a problem. And it's easy to learn. It's you can actually grow in a wide area. Once you are actually become a good developer in web technology, let's say you're a front-end developer. If you're a front-end developer, then there is no scope that you'll go to the AI part, because that's a completely different scenario. You'll more focus on architecture and software architecture, and how exactly you can improve the performance, all those stuff. And if you're a backend developer, then again you will start creating APIs, how to link it with on the client side, how to increase the performance of the application. So these are the few areas you will develop. Later on, when you have actually mastered this particular set of technologies, and you have a good set of skills, the companies will definitely hire you, because these are the few things every startup nowadays looks. They go for hiring web developers or app developers, right? When it comes to the AI or ML, they want some experienced one. But let's say you have an experience of 3 years in web technology, and in meanwhile you will also learning machine learning or machine learning side by side.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you go to apply for a job, you actually have an industrial experience of 3 years. Also, you have showed that you have these skills in ML. You have developed this kind of models, and these are the things that are live right now, right? You can do some freelancing. Meanwhile, you're focusing on web technology. Side by side, you can do freelancing for the ML. This way, you will be actually developing a portfolio, your own resume. Now, when you go to apply for a job in that particular field that you actually want to work on, you will get hired. But as a fresher, it's really difficult to get a job in the field of ML, AI, or data science. Anyway, the college have modified their curriculum in this field. I mean, a lot of colleges have started teaching data science and AI in engineering. But again, this is the first time they're doing. There are no placement yet happened in a lot of colleges in this particular fields. So it's always a good idea to focus on something that is evergreen, and instead of a trend. So like AI ML is a trend, definitely, and student definitely goes towards.
Finally, someone said that.
Yeah.
It's time someone explains this to the students, man. Most of them, if you look at it, right, they're all running behind AI, ML into all these online courses and all that stuff.
Exactly. And most of the students get depressed after that because of the mathematics that it properly involves. If you really want to grow in, the mathematics is really important. So it's actually always good to build the confidence, because it helps a lot. Because when you have the confidence, you can do anything.
Hey, totally, Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, in between this conversation, right, there are two terms that I heard, right? One is front-end developer, one is back-end developer.
Correct.
And in the market, we also hear something called a full-stack developer. What exactly does it mean in terms of development? Who exactly is a front-end developer? Who's a back-end developer? And who's a full-stack guy?
Okay, so front-end developer is someone who is actually working on a client side. Let's say whatever you see on the browser, like right now, this Facebook live you're seeing, this is a front end, right? And there again, there are a lot of frameworks in that: Angular, React JS. These are the trending. I mean, it's the most famous frameworks. But there are others also like Vue.js. They are also new to the market. These frameworks helped developers to they actually make developers work very easy in most of the terms. They don't have to do everything from the scratch. Again, they take care of performance in a very better way if you do the architecture properly. So like React is one of the most trending one. And when you go to the large scale product, then Angular is something that you should go for. So these are the front end technologies. And who are the front end technologies? Everyone who work with HTML, CSS, so HTML, CSS haters can stay
comes
far
back
away.
again, you know.
Yeah. So who can work with HTML, CSS, who can work with the styling, who can understand the screen pixels, who can understand uh, the uh, the design properly, like how exactly it should be placed. So these are the guys who can understand the performance. Matters a lot as a front end developer. Half of the people who choose front end development as a career don't focus on performance of the particular application. And performance doesn't mean the load time. It actually means how exactly the user is interacting and how much time it's taking to load the data. If the data is very heavy, then what all solutions you can bring on the table so that it doesn't affect the performance of the application. Let's say lazy loading is another thing. Facebook, if you scroll down, if the particular content is done, you see a loader there, right? And then the content loads. That's something we call lazy loading. So that's again a that's a solution that a front end developer needs to think of, right? So that's something a front end developer need to have an idea. So it's always important to start focusing on performance of the application, not just the styling part.
Okay,
Now, as a yeah,
that covers the front. So
correct.
basically, you mean to say anything I see on my screen or where I'm interacting with, that becomes
Yes,
front end,
yes,
and
that
who
becomes
develops that is a front end developer.
yes, correct.
Beautiful. Yeah, going to the
Mm,
next
the
one, Sudhanshu.
backend developer means that you can't see on the screen that's happening in the in the background. So let's say you're on this website. Let's say you're on Facebook page. You're creating your account for the first time. You're filling a form and you're clicking the submit button. Now at this point, the front end, the client, is sending a request to a server. Now that server had some codes that will see that these are the details that needs to be stored in this particular table or that particular table. So backend developers are the person who are actually writing all the logics. What is going to happen? Let's say you already have you create an account with the same email ID. So it tells you that this email ID already exists. So this now the backend developer is actually checking in the database that if this queries already exist, then tell the front end that ki, नहीं भाई अभी नहीं रख सकते ये data already है, right? So that's something the backend developer does. He writes the solution in the backend. So again, there we have database, the server management. Again, we have API developments. So APIs are the main link between the front end and the back end. That's how actually the client communicates with the server, like what exactly is happening. Again, the server management again contains the cloud computing, like how exactly you can improve your particular performance of the request. So what happens is sometimes a request particular takes long time. That because the backend architecture is actually becoming really heavy, and that's why we actually create multiple server for multiple things. So that is again something comes under DevOps. That's they are the guys who actually completely handle all this AWS, GCP, DigitalOcean. So these are guys are expert in that particular area. They handle the complete cloud computing. Backend developers write logics to create APIs so that front end can receive the data, so that user can see the data. Otherwise, front end is nothing; it's just interface, right? The data what we see is coming from somewhere, and that somewhere is backend.
Got it.
Yeah, and full stack developer is someone. Uh, okay, it actually means who knows both the front end and the back end, but in a better way, you will say master of one and jack of all, who knows everything, who knows everything. And nowadays demand for full stack developer is more in the market because people want to spend less money on resources and get the work done. So they prefer ki let's hire a full stack developer, usi se front end karwa lenge, and he will only do the back end also. So this way we'll only have to pay this much of amount to one person only, and not instead of two persons. So that's how the front end, the full stack developer concept came into the market actually, and that's how the demand actually increased. And they need to know actually almost everything. I mean, let's say a particular framework. So if you just work with Django, that is again a backend technology, web technology actually. You can also do the front end there, but mostly people prefer to do write APIs there, or let's say React in the front end. So a person who knows React and Django, who also knows a database, PostgreSQL, who can also work with other frameworks, let's say .NET and all those stuff. They are called full stack developers.
Beautiful, man. This has been like a confusing concept for me also. I've been trying to understand what exactly is this. So basically someone told a guy who can sit and code the whole application is called a full stack developer.
Correct.
That's the simpler thing that they tell.
Simpler thing.
And
exactly.
One more thing, in between all this, you use the word API, right? And you said it's like a bridge
Correct.
between the front end and the
Correct.
back end. So what exactly is an API? What does it do?
So there are okay. So let me simplify it. So API. So even the terms are very good, very clear. Get request, post request, delete request, put request. So post is something when you send a data from front end to the back end. So let's say the Facebook example, when you were filling the form, right? And when you click the submit button, it actually made a post request. It's actually making a request to the back end. You see this data I'm sending you from the front end, keep it in the database. So that's exactly what the API is doing. Okay. So now there are get requests. So all the feeds that you see on your Facebook, right? When you scroll down, there are a lot of images, a lot of posts and everything. That is the get request. So there we are actually getting the data from the server. We're getting the data from the database. So this API, what exactly is doing is this API has a URL like slash API slash get data. Okay. So now when you actually make a request, there are a few functions written there. These functions are actually going to the database and checking if that particular data is present or not. If it is present, then it is actually getting it to you in the front end. So that's what the API does. It's just a connection between the back end and the front end.
Beautiful. Wish someone taught me like this when I was in college, man. So everyone used to tell API is application program interface. It's an interface. That's how everyone's taught me. Okay. I just remembered that during my college times, right?
Same actually. Same. The first time I heard about the API, this was the only thing I knew about.
It's all about you putting in effort to learn about it, right?
Exactly,
that's how it is.
It's all about that.
Beautifully. So Sudhanshu, you've given us a clarity on who a front-end developer is, who's a back-end developer, who's a stack developer. Now say there is a college student, right? Now he wants to choose which field he wants to get into. Say it could be front-end, it could be full stack, it could be back-end. So where should he start and how should his learning or experiential journey look like? How should he pick up these skills?
Okay, right. So actually before telling the tech, I'll just tell how to pick front-end or back-end. Okay.
Beautiful. Sure,
so
please.
Most of the people actually don't understand. I mean, like they want to do both. Obviously, everyone wants to do both things because that will get them more money, right? So, but that's not how it works. Initially, just see like how good you are at developing logics first, right? Read the algorithms, try to understand. If you're able to grasp them, then backend developer will suit you perfectly. I mean, you can go towards backend developing. You don't have to worry about HTML, CSS. Guys, be happy. Now, let's say you actually, these are the basic things. That is the first thing you should notice. Like if you're able to build the logic properly, then go to backend development. If you're not, then the front end. Again, the interest lies. Like if you are more interested towards how exactly things look, front end development is your option. Now, if you have no idea like what to do, like if you really don't know like how to test and everything, and you just want to learn, I really want to start from today itself. In that case, don't go to backend guys because otherwise, if it doesn't suit you, then you will be highly demotivated. Start from the front end. Learn basic HTML, CSS. It's really easy. I mean, starting from HTML, CSS is the best thing because even when it's not a programming language, but it gives you confidence. I can design this particular thing. And if you really become good at just HTML, CSS, that is enough to get some gigs, freelancing gigs, because people are always looking for that also, right? So you can start from there. After that, once you are pretty much comfortable with HTML, CSS part, go to learn JavaScript. Don't go to PHP or Python directly. Go to JavaScript. You can go to Python actually. Python is very easy to learn. So either Python or JavaScript. Let's say you went through the JavaScript particular thing. Again, why JavaScript? Because that is completely made only for web, nothing else. Only for browsers, nothing else. So you can go to you can start learning JavaScript, and it's quite easy. Just try to understand how exactly you can interact with HTML and how you can modify your codes in the HTML. These are the few steps you can take when as a front end developer. Once you have a good confidence, when you have a core knowledge of JavaScript, not even core, at a beginner level also, but if you know what is string, what is int type, if you just know basic stuff, if you know how to manipulate DOM structures, then that should be more than enough. You can actually start learning framework. Let's say you started with React. Again, I'll suggest React over Angular because React is easier to learn compared to Angular. And Angular has multiple versions. It has some version issues. So if you directly jump into Angular, then it will be a bit confusing initially. So where React is pretty much simpler. I mean, you can start learning from state management, properties, all the stuff. And the terms that they are using also are something that we use on basic daily life, like properties. Like if I take example of a box, then what is a box? It is solid. That is a property. So that's how it is. So you can start working from React. You can start understanding how exactly the framework is working. And the best part about working with React is you will have to focus on the performance. Because that's the core of the React itself. The states, if you're able to clear it or not, or all those things, you will actually start focusing on the performance of the application. So that's a plus point for you. Even if you suppose you have a planner to, I will focus on performance after 3 years. No, if you started with React, you will start focusing in from day one itself. You will start noticing the performance issues after your first project itself.
Got it.
So that's the one plus point that you can gain from the React. Once you learn the React, you probably won't want to switch from React, but you can actually go to Vue. Vue is pretty much similar to React. So again, learning Vue.js won't be a huge problem. Whereas Angular is a completely different thing, because React is a library, whereas Angular is a complete framework, right? So that's why there is definitely a lot of differences. Angular is always chosen for a large scale project. When the project is very big and industrial product, then Angular is a perfect option, is the best option. Otherwise, for small products or PWAs, going with React is always a better option. So these are the few things you can start learning and end learning. By the time you actually finish React completely, you are an expert in front-end technology.
Beautiful.
In backend, start from Python. It's easy to learn, and even once you are clear with the basics of the Python, you actually go to Django or Flask. Now, the best part about Django and Flask is they work with a structure, right? Like URLs will go to urls.py only. And if this is model, then model will go to model.py only. So it's already documented. If you know that particular thing, if you clone any project from GitHub or anything, you actually don't have to dig around the projects to see what exactly is going on. You just have to open the particular app. You see, okay, this is the model, this is the URLs, and this is the main thing. So that's the best part about Django. And again, as it reduces the number of lines because it's very user friendly. I mean, it's just like writing a normal English statement. You don't have to worry about any colon or anything. And if you whatever you write in JavaScript, let's say it's a 200 line code, then probably in Python it will be like some 120 or maybe 100 lines of code. That's it. So, and also Python has a great community. There are a lot of libraries to help you out from everything. And again, if you are ML aspiring ML developer, then Python is your go-to-go. So from this, you will learn Python, you will master the Python, and you will build your path towards the ML and other models.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And
So-
if you know both, then you're the full stack developer.
So primarily with Python, I can become a backend developer. I can
Correct.
become a machine learning engineer. I could become an
Correct.
AI engineer. If I'm not wrong,
Vision.
even data science, again, they could use
Again,
Python, right?
yeah.
So
Data science, computer vision, augmented reality, virtual reality, anything.
beautiful, man. So then why is there still a push for Node.js and other technologies for backend? Why not everyone stick to Python and Python becomes that one language for everything?
Sure. So now let's talk about, like, as you said, Node.js, and let's compare Node.js and Django here. So no doubt Node.js has amazing performance, right? Because it runs on a V8 engine, and it is the best engine in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So Node. So if you ask me about, like, performance-wise, yeah, obviously go with Node.js, no doubt in that. But when you're actually planning for a particular product, right? So you have to think from the future scope also. Like, let's say I just have to develop a product, and there will be no additional. I mean, there will be just features. I mean, there will be no modification. Like, it will never grow towards AI, ML, or anything. It will just gonna add some function. That's it, nothing else. So I guess I'll just stick on to Node.js. Not a problem. I'll just stick on to that particular thing. But also it also matters when it comes to architectural part of it. Node.js doesn't have a structure. It's
Mhm.
You can create your own structure. I mean, that's another good thing, because initially remembering a structure is a bit difficult. So no, if you're learning, then Node.js will be a good thing to start with, because
Got it.
it have a structure. You can create your own structure. There will be just one app.js file. If you want, you can write everything there itself. But don't do that. Create multiple modules and then write your codes there. So that's the thing about Node.js. It becomes complex.
Got it.
From developer perspective, if I have to work on any others Node.js project, and if it is not a well documented project, then it will become really hard for me to understand what exactly is going there. I'll have to dig in with every code what exactly is happening. In Django, documentation is the best part. I mean, they have an inbuilt tool for a documentation perspective. So documentation becomes really easy there. Performance wise, no, Django definitely have a upper hand when it comes to, you have to play with analytics. When there is a large scale of data. Generally, actually, what happens when you are developing a product, you're gonna work with both. Either you're gonna have Django or Flask, or you're gonna have Laravel, or you're gonna have Node.js. So probably you're gonna work with both. There will be both APIs interacting with each other, right? One will be for just for the APIs who gonna just do the basic task that needs to be quick responses, and one that will do the analytical part. JavaScript is bad with calculations. Heavy calculation is really not a good thing for JavaScript. I mean, JavaScript can add strings, so that's really not a good thing. Whereas Python is very well structured, and when you have to do the analytics for the calculation, it gives response really fast. You know, like when you are actually trying to learn, and whatever I'm saying about the performance, response, and all the stuff, you really want to check. So let's just write an API in Node.js, write an analytical API in Node.js, or clone it from GitHub and clone it Django application from GitHub, run it on your system, go to your browser, go to the network tab, both different browser, hit those API and see the response time, what exactly got. A heavy analytical things I'm talking about. So you will see, like, why, and even when Node.js is a very powerful, running on a very powerful engine, the analytical part took some time. Where the Django project will take some less time. So these are the few things you guys can check yourself on your browser, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, anything. So it's completely depends on what project you're working on. If you have like face recognition and all the stuff, no, you guys can't do that on Node.js. You will go crazy when you're debugging that. But if you are doing it on the Django, then it will be easier for you to debug. So you also have to look for your own comfort and others' comfort who will be working on that after you.
Got it.
Yeah.
Perfect. I think, Sudhanshu, you've literally advocated for everyone to start using Python as such. I think many of the viewers who are watching it for surely will check out Python because, as you said, Python is something easy to learn and then they could easily pick it up for sure.
And a growing technology for the future.
Totally, man. Totally. I totally agree with you on that. Okay.
Yeah.
See, one of the major things that I also want to understand as a part of this whole interview is,
Yeah.
as a developer, what are these top, say, 5 skills that you should have? Not in terms of technology, but as a person, these are the skills that you should have.
Okay. Right. As a developer, right?
Yeah.
Problem solving first, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Second is debugging. That is the most important thing, because when something goes wrong, that's the only thing you can save you. So having a debugging skills is very important. And trust me, it is a separate skill. I mean, people should write the debugging skills in their resume, because it is a separate skill. It doesn't happen with everyone. You have to know multiple tools to do that. You should be like, you should know how the data is flowing in your particular application. So debugging is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing is patience. It's third thing. It's very important, because there will be days where you have to code for like 48 hours straight, 72 hours straight without for anything when you're working in a startup specifically. So patience is very important, and presence of mind. Staying where and yeah, you need to be a good listener first. That's very important. Like, you can't go like that, no, I will do this, I'll do that only. I mean, it doesn't matter what my client is saying, I'll just do this. So that's something you shouldn't do. Just because you're good at it doesn't mean that every person will require that, right? So that is again something developer needs to have in them. So yeah, I guess.
Any other skills? So you've given me 4 right now.
Yeah.
Problem solving, debugging, patience, and good listener. So I'll
Yeah.
assume these 4 skills are good to go. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Let me think. There's one more thing. So, sorry. So as a developer, again, you need to be very strong on the command lines. You need to understand the shell system, like how exactly that works, because that will increase your speed. I mean, clicking on folders, going inside the folder is not a good idea. Typing it on the on terminal or your PowerShell is a better idea. You should know how you can work. Like, let's say you're working with a server, you don't have an interface there. You need to edit your files on terminal itself. So you should know how you can do that. What are the things you should be doing? So shell is another thing that you should start learning. It's very important.
Hey, totally, Sudhanshu. Sudhanshu, we are overshooting the time. I'll just quickly check for other questions that have come up. In the meanwhile, right, there's also one question that many students have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to do engineering, or without engineering also I could become a developer?
I am a dropout. I am a developer. So yes, you can become a developer. It's not necessary to have an engineering degree. It's always safe to have a degree, no doubt in that. But if you're asking just to become a developer, no. There are a lot of resources online available that you can simply start. You just need to have that fire inside you to learn. That's it. Nothing else. You don't need a degree or education to become a developer or become anything actually.
Perfect. Sudhanshu, I think you've given a clarity on that particular thing.
Yeah.
And I also remember you'd given one example, right, of an intern who worked with you for, I think, about 3 or 6 months. And then now he's currently working at Microsoft.
Yeah,
and the kind of exposure that you've given him, right? It's amazing.
Yeah.
So another question is, are you open to hiring interns right now?
Yes, definitely. I am open to hire interns. I am full-time also.
Beautiful. So why were you thinking so much when you said yes? You just like, okay, should I hire? Should I not hire? Should I open it up? So what was that hesitation?
I was thinking about interns or full-time. So I was like, okay, I have both actually.
Beautiful, man. Thanks, guys. So by the way, for what roles are you hiring for?
We are hiring for backend and frontend both. Django developers and React developers, and also React Native developers. So React Native for the mobile applications, and one ML developer.
Beautiful. Guys, all of you watching, if you have any of these skills, please apply to UrbanStop. That's a company that's working on a lot of cutting edge tools. They're also developing their own in-house products. I will not talk about that, even though I know about it. You'll have to reach out to Sudhanshu. I've tagged him in this post. Do reach out to him. He's going to give you amazing insights, and the kind of quality of work that you'll get to do will also be amazing. So with that, thanks a lot, Sudhanshu. I know it's a hectic day for you, man. I made you
It's
shift
all
your
a
calls
discussion.
and all that
It
to
was
come into
amazing
this
actually.
discussion.
It was fun.
So before we started this call, Sudhanshu was a little skeptical. He was like panicking or having this fear struck. But then look at the kind of story that he's able to come out, man. That's primarily what we were looking at. So
Thanks.
at the end of the day, what I've seen is if you have the passion and the interest, and you're able to move forward with perseverance, anything and everything is achievable. That's
Exactly.
primarily you're a successful example of that, Sudhanshu. Thanks a lot for
Thanks a lot.
sharing your story with us, man. Even I didn't know I know Sudhanshu personally, and he has never shared this story with us. This is the first time we got him to share the story, guys. So I'm thankful to each and every one of you watching it to make sure that I pull out the story from him. Thanks, Sudhanshu. Have a great day, man. We'll
Yeah.
catch up soon then. Bye bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night, guys. See you then. Take care.